Hello! Welcome, everybody. We are so excited that you're all with us this evening. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to hang out with us and learn a little bit about our kinesiology program here at Azusa Pacific University. Just as a reminder, you're learning about kinesiology today. I hope that's what you're here for. We're excited to teach you a little bit about what that looks like at APU. So just to kind of get us started, I'll introduce you all to some of the amazing people that are part of this event with us today. So my name is Sarah Hernandez, and I'm an admissions counselor with Azusa Pacific University. I actually graduated from APU with a degree in kinesiology in 2018. So I am really passionate about not just APU, but this program and all of the resources that it offers. So that's who I am. I'll be kind of moderating the event today, so you'll see me and hear me. But I've also got some incredible faculty from our kinesiology program with us as well. So we've got Joshua Dexheimer and William Wilkinson, Dr. Dex and Dr. J for short. So again, two incredible faculty members that are part of our kinesiology program. Yeah, give us a wave. We're excited to be with you. Throughout the event today, they will give us a little presentation on our kinesiology program and kind of just break it down for each of you. And then really, we want to answer any and all questions that you might have. So please, starting now, you can start shooting questions into our Q&A portion of this event. So there's a little box down at the bottom of your screen, and you can start shooting questions in there starting now. And then we'll get to filter through those throughout the duration of our event together today. So again, thank you so much to each of you for taking some time to spend with us. And then I will pass it over now to Dr. J and Dr. Dex, and we'll get started here.
Great. Hey, everybody. I would say it's good to see you, but I can't see you. So even though we're projecting on the camera, I think you guys can see me, but I can't see you. But yeah, it's really good to have you here. And for sure, we're excited that you're interested in kinesiology. This is our profession, something that Dr. Dex and I, we've been passionate about, for a long time. And so we love what we do. We love our department. There are just tons of great things about it. And so we'll see if Dr. Dex has anything to say, but after that, I just want to show a few slides, just go through some important information about our program, give you a little bit of background, but yeah, like Sarah said, we really just want to open this up, make this your time to ask questions. And yeah, Dex, anything to say before we get going?
Yeah, just super excited to be here, everyone. I know I'm used to being able to see people on Zoom, and so this is a little bit weird, kind of just talking to ourselves a little bit, it feels like, but we're so excited that you guys are here, that you're interested in kinesiology, specifically at Azusa Pacific University. Our kin department is flourishing and booming. It's one of the biggest departments on campus. We're seeing students go into nursing programs, physical therapy programs, physician assistant programs. And so we're just seeing a lot of students really thrive through our department. And so we're just really excited to get you to share a little bit more about what, kind of gets us up in the morning every single day and why we're so excited about it.
Cool. All right. I'll share my screen. And while I'm doing that, just so we do have a mission statement. I won't go through the whole thing, but we believe in kinesiology that we're shaping difference makers. And of course, the difference makers are you guys. And part of our mission too is we're shaping difference makers. That we want to develop professionals and scholars in kinesiology, but we also want to develop students when they graduate that they know how to care for the whole person. So, our faith tells us that God's created us as multidimensional beings. We're not just the body, we're not just physical, we're emotional, we're spiritual, we're relational. And so a big focus of ours is, give you the expertise and education you need to care for the body, but also to care for the whole person. All right, so let me just see if I can peek around my computer and make that a little bigger. It's going to pause just for a second while we pull those up. So again, welcome to APU. Welcome to kinesiology. So in the kinesiology program, you graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree, so a BS in kinesiology, but we have a couple of concentrations, so 2 tracks. One is the health professions track, and the other we call applied exercise science. So the slides that come next will explain those in a little more detail. So here's what it takes to graduate in our health professions track. So first of all, to graduate from APU with your bachelor's degree, you need to earn 120 units. And so in the health professions track, we specifically have 118 units that you will earn as you go through our program. The thing that's different about this, it's health professions. So these are students who are interested in really allied health careers. Physical therapy, really popular among our majors. Athletic training, really popular. We have a lot of students that will go into occupational therapy. We have some students go into nursing, physician's assistants, chiropractic care in this track. So the focus here is to go into those professions, you have to get a graduate degree. And to get a graduate degree, to get accepted, you have to earn prerequisite courses and specific science classes. And so the health professions track, the reason we call that is because it lets you earn the science credit you need to apply for graduate school. Definitely all these fields are growing, and they're on fire across the country because our country needs good healthcare providers in this area. And so Dr. Deck said, we're one of the largest majors on campus. Potentially we're the largest. We kind of go back and forth between our psychology department by just a few students. And why would we be the largest? Well, one, because I think we're really good at what we do, right, Dr. Dex? But also because these careers are in demand. So it's a great pathway for those next steps. The next path we have is applied exercise science. And so Sarah, when you graduated, this is what you graduated with. I remember that with your AES degree, if I can get that out. This track in our major provides 104 of the 120 units. So that's important to pay attention to. It means that those extra 16 units that you have to earn to graduate provide a little bit more leeway for you to take some electives and do some study away programs and just, maybe even a minor, those types of things. So it's a little more flexible. And the careers, it's really geared towards fitness, wellness, strength and conditioning, cardiac rehab, nutrition, sports psychology. So less specifically in these allied health careers and more just the general kind of health and fitness industry that's out there, which, also really, really popular. But because of that, in this track, we have more kind of business related classes like fitness management class. We have some more hands-on kind of personal training type courses that you would take that I'll talk about in a second. Yeah, Dex, so those are our two tracks. Anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, what's great about health professions is that it essentially sets you up for success in terms of hitting prerequisites for all of those different graduate degrees, OT, PT, PA. And so what kind of separates us from like maybe biology or chemistry or science that has all those science classes is we're going to hit those prereqs that you need for those degrees, but you're also going to have a lot of hands-on classes that, apply those science classes in more of a kind of exercise and wellness type of approach. And then what's great about applied exercise science is the flexibility with it. We're seeing strength and conditioning is starting to boom. And there's students that we have that are looking into teaching assistantships, research assistantships, where they actually get their graduate schooling paid for, and they get 1 to 2 years of working with a D1 or D2 strength and conditioning program. Excuse me. Sports psych is starting to get extremely popular as well. And I've even got one student, I told him about cardiac rehab and becoming an exercise physiologist. And he's like, Dex, I didn't know I could graduate, go work in a hospital, get some hands-on experience, and, make money that could make me a living to pay rent and do stuff like that. He's like, I didn't realize, I thought I had to go to graduate school. So just showing students everything that they can do with the kinesiology degree. Sometimes we get blindsided by it's just PT, it's just PA. That's just what you do with kinesiology. And there's so much out there, and there's so much flexibility with it. But again, we have these two tracks. One, again, a little bit more flexibility. One is like, hey, you're going to hit prereqs and graduate with this degree and be ready for essentially any graduate school.
Yeah, let me just add on top of that, the applied exercise science route. If you were to decide that, well, I think I am going to go to grad school, there's room here to take the sciences.
Yeah.
The difference would be the other track, those sciences are built into the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive either. Yeah, so just a couple of pictures. So we believe in scholarship. We want students to be academically engaged. We want them to be, lifelong learners. So scholarship is important. And so you can just see some of these pictures I pulled up. You can see Dr. Dex right there. So students every semester, we take to research conferences and professional conferences where they actually they present research that they've done within our program, which is pretty cool. And Dr. Dex leads a lot of that for us. And then kind of in the top right, you can see a lot of our faculty and a few of our students. We, in the spring, before the virus hit, we built a state-of-the-art lab. Has all the latest technology in terms of camera, motion capture, and force plates, all this really incredible stuff. Dr. Dex has equipment in there that he's just dying to use. Interesting thing about our lab is that, we actually got it up and running about the same time that the virus hit. And, we had to leave campus. But state of the art, it's really, really nice. You can see some of the equipment in the bottom right. That is one of our graduate students who actually is in Japan right now, getting his graduate degree and has a big interest in biomechanics. And so you can see him participating in some research with some of the equipment that actually Dr. Dex uses in our lab. Yeah, Dex, I'll leave that up for a second in case you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, no, we're doing a lot of really cool things. The university has invested a lot into our kinesiology program. Just with my background, seeing biomechanics labs, there's nothing like it that we have in regards to the force plates, the setup, the quality, and everything like that. It's just top notch. And our president came, you can see him in the middle of it. So he was really excited about it. And then, we have cross collaboration. So my focus is more on exercise physiology, kind of sport performance. So we use down in the bottom right, that's a portable metabolic unit. So we can take that around wherever and measure how many calories someone is burning. And then conference wise, like we've had probably in the last year or two, 14 or so students present at both regional and national and international conferences, just research that they've done. So we really promote student scholarship and student engagement with faculty. So we kind of call it student-led research, where the faculty is engaged, but the student is the driver behind all of that. And so they're getting to answer some really cool research questions, throw some of that research experience onto their resume, which always looks good for graduate schools as well. And it's just an opportunity to get to know the students a little bit more and just kind of see them have some fun at these conferences.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff to be involved in that, and students love it. Neat thing about our major. So we're a hands-on profession. So it's not just about getting book smart, right? We need to be using our skills. And so we have an internship that's required in our major. So when you graduate, you'll have earned 100 hours worth of internship. And so these are at multiple sites. We have over 50 sites, around the local area and in some other places around the state as well. So those could be in PT clinics and chiropractic offices, in hospitals, cardiac rehab, sports performance centers. So multiple opportunities to do internships. And of course, really valuable to get that hands-on experience. And also important because this is what, people are doing the hiring. This is what they value. Have you had hands-on learning? Do you have the skills that we're looking for? And the interesting thing about our internships, they often lead to jobs. So you get in and do a great job in your internship, and you usually do these about the time that you're going to graduate. And so many of these can actually lead to jobs. It's pretty common among a lot of our students. Another cool thing about our major, you can earn at least 3 professional certifications. And neat thing about this, these are actually built into the course. So you take our course, and the course gives you the background and the skills and the knowledge to take these certifications. I think maybe the next slide talks about those. Yeah, so we have 2 through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. We call it NASM. So you can be a certified personal trainer. Yeah, most of our students usually get that by their junior year. And then we have a corrective exercise, a course that we teach that also leads to the corrective exercise specialist through that organization as well. That typically tends to be a senior course. It's a little higher level certification. So usually it's seniors that are getting that certification. And then Josh, I'll let you, because this is kind of your sweet spot, the National Strength and Conditioning Association. You want to talk about that one?
Yeah, so that's a course that students will take their senior year. And what's super great is it essentially prepares them for this certification. It's the gold standard certification that you need if you're going to go into strength and conditioning. We even recommend it, like, if you have this over your personal training, like, that's just a level up, because there's an application point to it, but you also need to be a biomechanist, an exercise physiologist. You have to have the science background with this certification. So we prep students in a class, and then we have them sit for it their senior year. And when they sit for it their senior year, you have to have a 4-year degree for this. And so the student will sit for it. Once they pass, then once they show that they have their diploma, they get that certification. And then again, just like my background, I went to graduate school and I couldn't do any research or exercise training unless I had a CSCS. So it's not just strength and conditioning. We see it for physical therapists are needing it because they're going to be working with athletes, so they can work with them on the strength and conditioning side as well as the rehab side. So it's a really great certification and kind of like top-notch high-end.
Yeah, these are things that'll help you get jobs. That's
yes.
Major health and fitness centers around the country, they're looking for these certifications. So it really allows you to kind of stand out. Yeah, just quickly, here's some of the jobs that you can see from our majors. So we mentioned several of these, physical therapy, chiropractor. We do have people who go the nutrition route, coaching, sports performance, health and wellness within corporations. Dr. Dex mentions exercise physiologists. Some of those will go on and get graduate degrees. Sports marketing, is popular among some of our students as well. We even have some of our students go on to become a physician's assistant, and even I write a couple of letters every year of recommendation for students who want to go on to be physicians, actually. So pretty cool, all the different routes you can take in our profession. And I think our program prepares you well for a lot of these different routes. And so, so here's some of our students. Starting at the top left, McKenna is working for a corporation as a health and wellness expert, and then a PT, physician assistant, and then sports performance. He has his own, Josh, remember that is, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Yeah.
That's Cameron, I can see it.
Yes.
Cameron has his own center, I believe, right? It's in sports performance. So just some good examples of students who have graduated in our program and gone on and done some really neat things. So we also have study away opportunities. And so we've been working on this really hard to give our students some great chances to study abroad. So some of these are specific to our program. So we have an Australia trip that we take. We were supposed to do summer 2021, but we decided we probably should push that back just to be safe. So that could be great for you guys. If you come on board, that will be good timing as you get started. It will, hopefully it'll happen. It may not happen this spring, but we also take a West Coast tour and just tour the best universities, the best research labs, and some major corporations who do a great job kind of in health and wellness and sports performance. So that's going to be a really cool trip that we take. Our students can also go to Ecuador and get their internship credit. So in Ecuador, you can take some other of your general education requirements that you need to graduate from APU, but we offer an internship in kind of a PT type setting in Ecuador. It's really, really neat. And then we also have an opportunity for our students to go to Lake Tahoe as well. It's called Camp Zephyr. So at Zephyr, then we offer a couple of our courses. So Kin 242 is our Fundamentals of Fitness course, which is the one that prepares you for that personal training certification. And then one of our writing courses that's required, we offer as well. And then on top of that, you can take some other general education requirements that are required to graduate from APU. Yeah, just to show some of the opportunities. So we are relationally focused in our major. It means we like to spend time together in the classroom. So you can see the team-based learning down on the bottom left. We go on camping trips. If you're familiar with Azusa in this region, there's the San Gabriel Mountains. The highest mountain I could see out my office here is Mount Baldy. It's over 10,000 feet. So we take a hiking trip to Mount Baldy every year. And then down in the bottom left, another conference that all our students went to. I believe that's the American College of Sports Medicine conference that's held in California. So a really high level conference that our students will go to and often present research as well. So yeah, Dr. Dex, I've been going for a little bit, but maybe I've skipped something that you might want to add to.
No, you hit every nail on the head. I was a little bummed on Australia. I was part of that. I've been one of the leaders for that trip. But yeah, our plan is 2022 at this point. Again, it's still up in the air, but we just want to ensure that the students all have the best experience for something like that. Not just go, but take everything in. But yeah, that's hit the nail on the head.
It's a great trip. It's a great trip. All right, so that gets us to the end. So you guys get to ask questions now. So I think that'll be the best thing. So here's just a couple of emails. So ken@apu.edu is the best way to get in touch with us. But we also have an Instagram account. Would love for you guys to go check the Instagram account out. We have a lot of fun stuff up there where you can both meet our students, meet our professors, and learn a little bit more about us as well.
We call it the Kinstagram.
Kinstagram. Always.
That's so good. I love that.
All right. So I think I stopped sharing my screen, right? So we're back on board.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Dr. J and Dr. Dex, for teaching us a little bit about what kinesiology at APU looks like and what you both, amongst a whole team of faculty and staff, what you do to prepare our students for how to eventually leave APU and enter into the workforce. So thanks so much for sharing a little bit about that. We do have some questions here, which is super exciting. So, and again, if you're listening in, continue to send us questions. We want to be as helpful as we can to you during this time. So ask any questions that you might have. Dr. J and Dr. Dex are super kind, and so they're really excited to get to answer some of these questions. So kind of for our first one here, maybe you both can talk a little bit about the size of the major. So you talked a little bit about the fact that we kind of teeter back and forth kinesiology and psychology. So maybe a little bit more on size of the program. And I know a lot of students ask too in that, are classes impacted? What does that look like? Am I going to get all of my classes for kinesiology in the 4 years if the program and the major is so big?
Yeah, so we are one of the biggest majors on campus, and yeah, we've been running 450 range is, pretty safe to say. So that's a big department. And yeah, so the cool thing about that is we keep our classes really small. So I think I have one of my largest classes this semester. So yeah, Dr. Dex and I both teach our exercise physiology course, and we just had a ton of students come through this semester. These are our allied health students. So we have kinesiology and allied health. This is a required course to get into PT school and athletic training. So it's a popular course because of that. And even now, I think Dex, you're a little bit over 20 in that class, and I think mine is at 30. So, and those are the largest classes that we typically have. My other classes are between 12 and 20 students. So it's definitely a big major, but small classrooms with lots of individual interaction. Dex, you might want to speak into that too. You actually teach one of our freshman courses.
Yeah, so we really, and our department chair, Dr. Sorensen, really, even though we are big, we want to have that small feel. So like when we had classes that could be up to 40 or 50, we open another section. We want to keep the class sizes small, intimate. We know every student by name. I haven't had a class so far where I don't know every student by name. It takes me a couple weeks, but because there's multiple classes, but
Totally.
every professor will know every student by name. I mean, we opened so many different sections of our exercise physiology lab, which we cap out at 12, because again, I think anything bigger starts to lose that hands-on experience. And so we opened up, I think we have near 7 or 8 sections of that. So when class sizes are getting big, we open another section, and we haven't had any issues where students can't get into a class that they need. So as long as they've hit the prerequisites for that class, then, our students get out in 4 years or less. That's,
we've never had an impacted class.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah,
it's never been a problem.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think as a previous student, that is something that was so important to me, especially in your major specific classes, right? Because you want to have that access to your professor in order to ask a question, to develop a research proposal, to walk through a project or a passion. And so, I can attest to that as a student, I remember specifically small classroom sizes. And again, just that access and availability to all of my professors throughout my entire 4 years at APU. So thanks so much for both of you for touching a little bit on that. I think kind of in that too, we're getting a lot of questions about athletes as well. And so are athletes typically participating in this major? What does that look like for athletes to balance this kinesiology major with their D2 or a D2 school at APU? So what does it look like? Are athletes studying kinesiology? How are athletes managing kinesiology and their sport at APU?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so I could answer that, but Dr. Dex is a former collegiate athlete, baseball player, so he can probably relate to that even better than I can.
Yeah, so I played baseball at Point Loma Nazarene University, so one of APU's competitors for all 4 years. Yeah, and I would have to say I just filled out grade reports for student athletes, and I would say that I feel like 90% of my students are student athletes, whether they're on the acro team, whether they're baseball, football, volleyball, soccer, the wide spectrum. And I would say a lot of athletes gravitate towards kinesiology. It's great because it allows them, there's flexibility with the coursework. The science classes that we have are designed to hit the prereqs, so there's not an excessive amount of science classes that go beyond the scope of what they need for graduate school. And I've seen a lot of students balance and flourish with the kinesiology major, and they enjoy it because now they're able to take what they are maybe learning in the weight room or, doing on the field and taking their knowledge out there to the field and into the weight room as well. So they really enjoy that application part of it. We see a lot of students, and the way our classes are designed, all of our students are out by the time it's ready for practice. If they have a lab, so like our ex-phys lab, the lab is after practice. Our faculty are, we work with athletics very closely to make sure, hey, if they're out of town for a game, that the student has the materials that they need, that everything's available to them, to make sure that they keep up with things. Because I know what it's like to get behind a little bit because of someone wasn't
Totally.
I've had some experiences as a student athlete that wasn't great, and so all of our faculty, we promote sport, we promote physical activity, and so that's we we want our students to be student athletes. Like we enjoy having student athletes. They bring in a great perspective. They bring in a good team
Right.
attitude, based learning to everything. And so I love having student athletes. They can be a little rowdy sometimes, but they're a good time. And yeah, like I said, probably 90% of my students right now are student athletes, it feels like. Jody, any?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great fit for athletes. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You're an athlete because
Right.
you love your body and you want to perform the best. So it's a great fit. Of course, we have athletes that are in all kinds of majors across campus, and I don't really know the distribution, but yeah, it makes sense that kinesiology probably gets a bigger share of athletes because just that natural passion's already there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Thanks so much for telling us a little bit about that. Kind of jumping off of that, you talked about study away opportunities as well. So for athletes who are studying kinesiology, what does that look like for them to also be able to study abroad with the major? Is that an option? Can you guys talk a little bit about studying abroad and that option specifically for your student athletes in kinesiology?
Yeah, I don't know, Dr. Dex, if you can think, I'm trying to think if I have a specific student in mind. It is definitely possible. And do you have anybody in mind? Or?
I mean, I got personal experience, and I've got other students in mind as well. That comment actually came up in class today as we were going over academic advising. So I had a soccer player. She asked me how to study away work with my soccer schedule, and it all depends on the sport and the coach, really. So personally, if I go with my baseball background is every fall you had fall ball, every spring was the season, and every summer you need to make sure that you played summer ball for the 3 months with a good team. That's just how it worked and what you needed to do. So for baseball, studying abroad was tough. Some players, though, don't play summer baseball. They take the time off. And so there's an opportunity to study abroad over a summer. What is really great is our go terms. I love our go terms. They're like 1 week long. So we mentioned the West Coast tour. That happens during spring break. So maybe if we're in a spring sport, that would be tough to do because we're practicing or playing games during spring break. We are working on putting something together, though, for the fall. So that way when, the fall kind of season is over, there'd be an opportunity for those students to go study away for a week. So that way we can hit both fall and spring sports where they're in their off season. And we're trying to, we have it available in the spring. We're still working on it in the fall. And then obviously we have the summer study abroad trips, and a lot of it's just communication with the coaches, talking to them. But generally off season, I would say more times than not, when there's like a break for Thanksgiving or a break for spring break, if it's their students off season, they're not going to have practice and training, or, our strength coach gives them a training plan to do for the week. He's super great. He just gives it. He's like, oh, you need body weight? Like, here's your body weight for the week. And then when you come back, we'll get you back dialed in. So they work very closely with our strength coach if they need to do anything like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so a study away too. So the ones that I showed you have a kinesiology specific component. So you actually earn credit for our degree. APU has multiple study away opportunities, and for those you will typically you earn your general education requirements. So there's, your English, your history, theology classes like that you have to have to graduate. And so typically for any student, whether you're an athlete or not, you just have to be well organized and have a good plan in place so that you can plug the right classes in at the right time. So it's a little bit of effort for every student to make that happen, because you just have to think ahead a little bit. And yeah, like Dr. Jack said, it's a little more challenging for athletes because you only have so much room in your schedule for things to work out. So definitely possible. And so if you're interested in study away, my advice always to students, when you come in as a freshman, let's start working on it now. Let's build a plan so we can make that happen.
Right. That's really helpful insight. And I think, again, just to touch a little bit on my experience as a student, I was able to study abroad when I was a sophomore at APU. And part of again, kinesiology at APU, you will do academic advising. You will walk through your schedule with a professional and they will help you pinpoint, okay, what classes have I already taken? What classes will I take in the future? And how can I integrate a study away semester into my 4-year academic plan? And I think if you have the opportunity to study abroad, I think that is an excellent option for you as an undergraduate student to gain just greater perspective about the world around you, right? And to have a better understanding of maybe different methodologies, different ways that, things can be done in different ways. So thanks a lot for touching on.
So Sarah, where did you go?
Yeah,
Where'd you go for your study abroad?
Yeah, I studied abroad in Quito, Ecuador. And that semester changed my life, truly. And I had an internship that semester with, it was like a senior citizens home. And so I was able to work with kind of that demographic and that population of patients. And we did blood pressure and we did kind of brain activity games and puzzles and got to walk with patients. So was really involved in this particular facility in Quito, Ecuador. And again, I think one of my favorite pieces of kinesiology in general, and specifically this opportunity that I had with study abroad, was that hands-on component. And that's something you both have touched on a lot, is that kinesiology is the focus, right? Is to have hands-on practical experience so that you're able to apply what you're learning in the classroom and ultimately understand if this is something that you're passionate about as a student. So those are some components that I loved as a student in kinesiology, but also in studying abroad, which is kind of, I want to transition into this next question, which I think applies to that of, as a student, can I just jump into kinesiology without understanding a lot of kind of what that looks like? Can I jump into kinesiology, maybe not knowing exactly what I want my career path to be? And how do I, as a student, kind of receive development in maybe career goals, passions, things like that, if I don't necessarily know a lot about what kinesiology is or looks like?
Yeah, so I mentioned our mission statement, and we have several different domains in our mission statement. And one of those is we want our students to be vocationally aware. By vocation, we want you to be aware of God's calling on your life. We believe that you're designed for a purpose. And so Dex and I do a lot of work with this, where we actually work with our students to help them find what their gifts and interests and passions are so that they can plug in with the right vocation. And so, definitely, especially coming in as a freshman, you don't need any background or experience in kinesiology. So we're going to start you from the ground floor, build you up from there. And it's a great major. It's a fun major. It's hands-on. It's all about exercise. It's all about health and fitness. So it's a great fit for anybody. So I'm going to sell that. Well, we believe the professions you can go into with a kinesiology degree are really, really important. But we also know there's a large percentage of students who they actually don't go into the field that is their major. And yet that major and what they studied still really, really valuable. And it needs to be a great experience. So even Sarah's a great example, right? She's working in our admissions office right now. And I know that your background in kinesiology and the skills and the learning and everything you took into it's really valuable for you in the career that you're in now. And so if I'm answering your question, well, one, you don't need a background, because that's what we're here for. We're going to give that to you, and then we're going to work with you to find your calling and your passion. And that could be in a kinesiology related field, but we're open to letting God push you and guide you where you need to be. And we're 100% supportive of that. Another one of our domains is we want to develop students who are academically engaged. So what you learn is important, We value what we're
Right.
teaching you, but we also really value that we're teaching you to be a learner and develop those skills that you can take with you no matter kind of what career path you ultimately take.
Right.
And just to touch on it, that's what our Kin 102 class is. So it's a class that I was kind of given, that I was designed. I've worked with a lot of faculty to make sure that it's a course that, you know, you can have no background in kinesiology, and you're going to learn all about what kinesiology is, everything that you can do with that major. So like I said earlier, it's beyond PT, it's beyond PA. I mean, I've got friends that blog for a living because they have an expertise in, one guy, I think, CBD blog, and talks about the health benefits of CBD. And he gets paid to blog for a company. So like, there's all these different things that you can do and career wise. And so I've even had students, Jody mentioned, being vocationally aware. When you're going through our major, we want you to feel God's purpose and calling in your life, that this is where you're supposed to be. I've had some students that have transferred into Kin 102 and felt this is where I need to be. I've had some students that go through, you know, our intro to kines and realize, you know what, hey, I've gone through all these different things. I've learned about myself. So Dr. J's done an amazing job of putting together what we call SHAPE. So students take different assessments. They learn about the major, they learn about themselves as well, and realize this is what I'm designed to do. And some go, I've had a student go, hey, Dex, love the class. I'm designed for social work. So I'm changing my major. Thank you so much. This showed me where I needed to be. And we would rather our students know that sooner rather than junior or senior year.
Right.
And so again, it's, you know, making them aware of, hey, this is what God has called you. And, you know, a lot of our students, thankfully, you know, feel this is where they've called them. And Kin 102 just kind of expands that and opens it up to them. So again, yeah, no background, and, you know, that's what Kin 102 is designed for, to bring everyone in.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing on that. And I think that relieves a lot of pressure, right? As an incoming student, there is freedom, right? To explore and discover. And as particularly at APU, and I think my experience was in kinesiology, so can speak to that, but know that at APU, that is something that you both are passionate about as faculty and professors too, right? Is to walk with students through that process. And I think that's an incredible resource that our students have, and that you can have as a prospective student, to know that you will have faculty and staff available, and not only available, but who want to have that relationship with you, to walk with you through what you are designed to be and do. So thanks to the both of you for.
We can plug APU and as well.
Yeah.
So, both Dr. Dex and I, we've had a lot of education. So I have an undergrad degree. I have the equivalent of a pre-med degree. I have a master's degree. I went on to medical school. I taught in a DPT program for a while. And so all that to say is I'm not talking about me, is that I've experienced a lot of educational environments.
Yeah.
And you guys really have to trust me on this, that I've never experienced anything like APU. That just has this intimate connection between students and faculty.
Yeah.
And the fact that, we're here for a reason, and that is that we do believe that we have a calling. And so remember, our mission is to build difference makers that care for the whole person. And so, I mean, obviously there's lots of great colleges and universities out there, and you can make a lot of great decisions. But I truly believe, based on my experience, which is pretty extensive in education, this is a really unique place that just allows for relationships and exploring your life, a little bit better than other places do, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks for sharing on that. I think one of the other benefits that you both kind of touched on, in, again, just that access to professors and faculty, was kind of that research component too. So we've got some questions too about research opportunities and what that looks like as a kinesiology student, and when typically a student would be part of a research opportunity in the kinesiology major.
Yeah, Dr. Dex, this is your thing.
Yeah, so we have fun. So yeah, I mean, we've gone to Washington D.C. We go to Newport Beach. We're supposed to go to Las Vegas. So we travel. We've gone to, oh shoot, where was it, in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We went to a conference there, and it's all students presenting, and I'm just kind of there hanging out, kind of letting them do their thing. But really, as soon as they enter, I've had freshmen. So generally as a freshman or a sophomore, they're kind of more of a shadow. Maybe we're getting some hands-on things like that, but I usually have maybe some type of grant or something that is paying a junior or a senior. So generally I'll have a research assistant that's actually getting paid and funded. So that's their actual like on-campus job, is to do research, collect data. And that was really starting to ramp up before everything happened. But the junior, senior, they've taken some of the upper division courses, so they've had a little bit more lab experience, a little bit more knowledge, and so they're ready to go. But we've had anyone from this last year, a sophomore presented at an international conference.
That's
Juniors,
awesome.
yeah, juniors and seniors have presented at conferences. So again, we just kind of take a little bit of a different approach. So like the sophomore was more, hey, here's some data. Let's, here's a research question. We have some data. Let's work with it. It was something that the juniors and seniors had collected. So again, you can kind of see the juniors and seniors did a little bit more of data collection and their analysis, and the sophomore was more kind of, they watched it, they were shadowed, and then they took some data and worked with it and presented it. But yeah, I mean, we have exercise physiology research going on. We have Dr. Seville is big on mental health, performance sports, mental conditioning. Dr. or Professor Dudley and Dr. Dubois are biomechanists. So they do a lot of biomechanics. So anytime you see like the markers on people, that's a lot of what they do. There's athletic training research that's going on all the time. We have a very good relationship with our DPT program. So there's a lot of cross collaboration as well, especially biomechanically, because, DPT is human movement specialists. So they do a lot of stuff within our biomechanics lab. So there's an opportunity to work with DPT students, our PhD students as well, that are over in that department. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and the university has, really invested in us with some of the, really the best equipment that you can get that allows us to also not just do things in the lab, but a lot of things that the technology that we've been fortunate enough to get is we can do things out in the field and apply it again to a real world scenario.
Right.
Some of our students, we get grants. So we have student focused grants that will provide some money for you to, if you do the research study and write the poster, that those grants will help travel and cover some costs like that. So Dr. Dex has written some of those grants with students, right? So I know that you've had a little bit of funding there.
So students, there's a couple of different grants that students can get. They can get a grant that's approximately $1,500 that allows them to buy a piece of equipment or something to answer a research question that they may have. All of my students so far, APU has what's called a travel grant. And so a student applies for it. It's for conference travel. And so when we went to Washington, D.C. last year, it took 5 people to Washington, D.C., and their plane flights and part of their hotel costs were covered because they all just crammed them all into a room. Keep the price down. So yeah, there's a lot of funding opportunities to where money is given to students to take their knowledge and learning to the next level. So yeah, it's really great, the opportunities that we have for students to do research, especially at the undergrad level. My undergraduate didn't have it. Yeah,
it's a little unusual as much as we do. And so to answer the question too, hope you heard Dr. Dex say, well, you can start day one potentially.
Yep.
Right.
It's never too early to start. Right?
Not at all. I had one student, he came on, a couple of sophomores. We started them going. They presented at Southwest ACSM in Newport Beach. And then we reconvened and they're like, well, Dex, this was great. I'm going to try biomechanics now. So then they went and worked with Professor Dudley and Dr. Dubois. So it doesn't hurt my feelings or anything like that. It's
Totally.
they're getting these hands-on experience of real life, research and again, taking advantage of everything that the department has to offer, which is fantastic.
Right. I always get so excited hearing about the undergraduate research, right, that is available to you as an undergraduate student. I mean, that is so unique. And I think, again, is particular to an APU degree, right? And specifically within this field that we're talking about of kinesiology, that is an option. And again, just setting students up to succeed and ultimately to not just succeed in the 4-year undergraduate career, right? You're preparing students to leave APU and enter into the workforce after that 4-year period. So I think research is a huge way that the kinesiology program specifically at APU does that. So yeah, thanks for touching on that too. We've got about 10 minutes. We got about 9 minutes. So continue sending questions in and we'll continue to go through as many as we can. Thanks so much for already sending in all of your questions. I know Dr. J and Dr. Dex have had a blast getting to interact with you as a prospective student. So continue sending your questions in. So kind of continuing here, you both talked a little bit about the 2 concentrations, right, under the main branch of kinesiology. So we have some questions about kind of specifics to that. So I know really popular career choices within kinesiology are athletic training and physical therapy. And then we have another question too about sports medicine physician. And I think we talked a little bit about that, but if I'm interested in athletic training or physical therapy, what kind of concentration should I choose? And then if I'm interested in the physician kind of route, what concentration do you suggest for me?
Yeah, so both pathways can work, but the health professions track, that pathway specifically designed to let you get your sciences that are going to be prerequisites to apply for those graduate programs. So whether it's PT or athletic training or going on to medical school, there are specific prerequisites to get into this. So you have to take specific science-based courses to be able to apply and get accepted. And so that health professions track is designed to let you get those sciences that you need. So it just gives a little more freedom to do that. Those are built directly, several of them are built directly into the curriculum, or what we call your academic map. And so a couple advantages of that is, so you graduate with most of your prerequisites done. It kind of depends on, what you're applying for and what the school requirements are. But then you've also dealt with the rigor, the academic rigor of taking those science classes. And so it prepares you for that next level. Whereas for the health professions track, that academic rigor for the sciences may just not be quite as necessary. Especially if you're going in kind of the health and wellness field, the personal training field, and certainly sciences are part of that, but just a little different focus. So typically, so if you're going to a graduate program in one of those fields, we would recommend, probably the health professions track is the best way to go.
And what I love about
the map is just better designed for that. Sorry, Dex.
No, you're good. What I love about the health professions track is it sets you up to take the courses and like the chemistry, the biologies, and if you choose to do something different that doesn't require those, then no harm, no foul. It at least keeps the door open, because if you're to go in, maybe you go applied exercise science. If it was me, that's probably where I would have gone. I was originally, if you'd tell me that I'd still be going to school all these years, I'd say you're crazy. When I was 18 years old. But now I love school. I can't get away. But, I might have gone AES because of all the different science classes. Was never a big science buff in high school. But that would have delayed me later on, junior, senior year, when I realized what I wanted to do, and I would have had to make up a lot of science classes.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I love about health professions, is it's taking that leaves the door open. But if you have
Right.
an idea of what you want to do, then AES is fantastic, because it's like, all right, I'm going to plug in a science class here, just so that way I still have the door open, and then maybe I'll add another one. So again, it just kind of depends on the flexibility that you want to have
Right.
with your degree. And what's great is we don't lock you in. Like, we give you a lot of flexibility to only hit the prereqs for ATC. So like athletic training, it's a semester of chemistry, semester biology, semester of physics. I know a lot of programs, they'll require you to, for their kinesiology degree, it might be you have to take a year of chemistry, a year of biology, a year of physics, because that's the prereqs for like PT school. So
Right.
we've designed both of our concentrations to be flexible for several different allied health professions, graduate schools, or just professions in general.
Right. Right. Awesome. Thanks for touching on that. I think kind of to end, maybe we'll wrap up with this question. But another question that you both have talked about too, and an example that you gave was of a student who owns their own training facility and their own center. And so if that is something that a student aspires to do, is to own their own training center, can a student kind of cohesively do kinesiology and maybe business or entrepreneurship? Is that something that you guys see frequently, or how does that kind of work to pair those together with a kinesiology major?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely works. It works for just within our majors. Probably the AES track is probably the better pathway for that. We have a fitness management course that is part of that, that pathway. And remember, we have internships, so 100 hours of internship that you would direct towards what you're interested in. So you would do that in a setting that's similar to maybe what you want to set up. And there are electives as well. So, I think the track gives you 16 units that we don't assign you. So, 16 units that you could take as electives. And then, a couple of other options. I mean, we do have students that graduate with dual degrees. That's taken on a lot, but it does happen fairly commonly. And then we also have a lot of our students that take a minor. So you could get your kinesiology degree and then like a minor in marketing or business administration, that type of thing. So multiple pathways to that. Now, we do a pretty good job of preparing you for that, in the AES track. But then getting a minor and some other considerations work really well.
Cool.
Yeah, actually, in a former life, I owned a baseball facility and strength and conditioning facility. So we had over 100 athletes that were between the ages of 18 and 22. So we had a collegiate summer baseball team that we started. I wish that my major, because it was exercise science, prepared me like the AES track prepares with the fitness management. In Kin 102, we go over how to build a website, how to make a podcast, so some more like social media marketing type stuff. And so we kind of prepare students for like, here's what it's like to go out on your own to start this, because there's a lot of things that I just learned from the School of Hard Knocks, and wish that someone said, hey, if you did this, it would have saved you 2 months. So that's what I really like, is that you can take the business classes and everything like that, but then just the courses that we offer as well really help to give you some of those skills if that's the direction that you want to go.
Yeah, so I know it's time to go. So one quick thing is that most of our faculty too, we're not just faculty who went to graduate school. Most of our faculty has professional experience. We've actually worked in the fields, and that helps a lot.
Dr. J's a medical doctor, worked as a physician. Dr. Sorensen worked in the fitness center, athletic trainer. Professor Dudley, I know he worked in like ergonomics. Dr. Dubois, she's worked in fitness centers, and Professor Cheney owns her own kind of movement corrective
exercise,
clinic. So that's what's really cool. You're not just getting professors that just went to school, did research. You know, we've lived a little bit and done some things outside of academia.
Right. Amazing. Well, thank you so much to all of you who attended and learned a little bit about APU and our kinesiology program. Thank you so much to Dr. Dex and Dr. J for spending some time with us and teaching us about what it is that you're passionate about, but also practically, right, how to prepare as a student for dreams and passions that our students are beginning to develop. So I hope that we were able to answer your questions throughout our event today. And again, we are here as a resource for you. So reach out to the kinesiology department, follow them on Instagram, reach out to us as an admissions office, and we would love to be able to answer any questions that you all might have. So again, thank you so much for stopping by and spending some virtual time with us. Thanks so much again, Dr. J and Dr. Dex, for teaching us about kinesiology. I love learning about it. So thank you so much, everybody.
See ya.